Hey all, welcome back to the Fire and Water Cooking Podcast. I'm Darren, and today we're going to have a great guest on, Mr. Ryan Neely. He is in the marketing department of Camp Chef, and we're going to talk about all things Camp Chef's doing and what they offer. I'll be right back with Ryan.
Smoking, grilling, getting hot and hotter, sous vide and chilling from fire and water.
Welcome back to the Fire and Water Cooking Podcast. I'm Darren, I'm your host, and today we have a special guest, Mr. Ryan Neely. He is the marketing manager of Camp Chef, and I am a big supporter of Camp Chef products. Ryan, welcome, and go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, thanks, Darren. I'm happy to join you on today's podcast. I don't really know where to start, but like you said, I'm the marketing manager at Camp Chef. I live and Camp Chef is located in northern Utah, so we're about an hour and a half north of Salt Lake City, up here in just a small in a little college town. It's a great place to be, a great place to live. And Camp Chef's an awesome company to work for. I've been here for almost 8 years now, and I've loved every minute of it. It's such a fun job. I love the products that we make. But most of all, I think I like the industry that we're in and working with and meeting with and talking with people like yourself, Darren. It's a fun environment to be in, fun place to be. And most of all, the people, both in Camp Chef and especially outside of Camp Chef. Great people.
So how did you start with them? Did you come right out of college? Did you start as an intern? How'd you get there?
I started as an intern. I had a friend that had a connection, and I got my former boss's phone number. I called him up and I said, "Hey, I love Camp Chef. I'm like, I'll come work for free. I just want to get a little experience in my belt, and I wanted to get in this industry." Camp Chef does a lot in the outdoor industry and also in the cooking, grilling, barbecue space. And I wanted to work in a lot of in the outdoor industry. And so I just called them up and said, "Hey, I want to come work for free." Anyways, they brought me on as an intern part-time, ended up paying me, which is great, during school. So I kept 2 jobs for a while. And then after about a year, I graduated and came on full-time. And have held various jobs in the marketing department, but now I'm the marketing manager, and I do all sorts of work. We wear a lot of hats here, and so that's part of what makes it so fun.
So what is your main job that you do right now that you're daily, when you walk in the door, you're having to take care of? I know you probably wear a lot of hats, but
yeah, I do a lot of stuff. This morning I came in and I work with a lot of people like yourself, Darren, who are influential in the barbecue or outdoor market in some capacity, whether that's through social media, or any other type of outlets that we work with. I work a lot more with some of the people in the social media world. And then I also help with product launches and product development, for example. Kind of work with our product team to do a lot of that stuff. We give feedback on some of the products we're developing. And then also a big part is product launches and bringing them to market, making sure everything's ready to go once we have it out, getting all the images lined up. I help and work a lot in some of our photo and video shoots and events and all sorts of different stuff. I mean, you name it. Marketing is such a fun place to be, and I think that's why I love my job so much, because I'm doing something different every day. Last week this was great. This is a fun part that people don't see, but last week we're out we're shooting some videos for our YouTube and social media channels, and we were kind of doing a video on how to reverse sear. So we had a ribeye roast, cut it up into 4 different steaks, and we did a video on reverse searing and how do you reverse sear and all that. We kind of go into details on that. So you can check out our YouTube channel, our YouTube page, and that should be up within the next couple weeks or months. We'll probably get that up. We've got a whole line of videos coming. But anyways, then after those things are done, that's what we ate for lunch. And we each had like, I don't know, there's only four of us and we had four of these huge steaks. And it was great. It's fun, but cooked perfect. The best, the best tasting steak I've ever had. And it's great because you can all do it on your grill. And anyway, so we're always doing that kind of stuff. It's fun.
So you work with like Susie Bullock and stuff from Hey Grill Hey, and
I do.
Melissa over at the Camp Chef Smokers,
Yeah.
Facebook group and things like that as
Yeah,
well.
I
So
work with I work with both of them, and if you're listening to this and you don't know who they are, get on Facebook or get on the internet. Just look up Hey Girl Hey. Her name's Susie Bullock. She's great, man. Susie puts out a lot of good stuff.
yeah, I follow a lot of her stuff. I mean, she does she's one of the people that inspired me to start my own stuff. So
Yeah, yeah, great story. She just kind of started doing this on her own. Or her husband Todd ended up quitting his day job and is now um, working for her, with her. Anyways, but they do great stuff. And if you just want to learn, like, cooking in general, I think can be so intimidating, and difficult. I remember when I first started, I thought, how ribs, like, how am I going to do these ribs? And it was intimidating. It was, I just, for whatever reason, I couldn't understand it. Anyway, Susie's great. She really dumbs it down and makes it just great and simple, and kind of helps you see, oh, wow, okay, I can totally do that. Um, so she's great. And you mentioned Melissa too. If you're listening to this podcast, hop on Facebook and look up Camp Chef Smokers. It's a Facebook group, Camp Chef Smokers. They're great. One of the administrators, her name's Melissa. Anyway, it's a great group. It's not owned by Camp Chef. We don't own it. We don't run it. In fact, we try to stay out of it. Um, but I'm a part of the group, and I love seeing people post their recipes and their food. Everybody's cooking. I'm not very active in there just because I'm an employee, so I kind of like.
right, yeah, it's hard to. I'm a part of a few uh, grill or other type of manufacturer type groups, that are fan type based groups, and
Yeah,
it's hard. Come Out of Joe's got a big one, but they're not. It's like they're not really part of it. It's not owned by them. It's run by fans, but there's so many people that try to get customer service things settled through the Facebook group that's run by fans, and it's like, this isn't a customer service thing owned by
yeah,
the company, so go through the regular channels of customer service.
yeah. You mentioned that. It's funny because I'll be on there and I'll see something come up and someone has a question. Hey, what about this? And I'm thinking, oh well, the correct way to use this product, we designed this feature for this, or the correct way to use it is this, and so I'll get on and read the comments, and Melissa's great. She's awesome. She's always on there correcting people. But it's funny because people don't always know. That's not really the best route to go. Just because you're getting other people's opinions or whatever, they might not be the best, when it's designed for a specific thing. So, you can always contact the manufacturer or whatever. That's definitely the best route for
Right.
for those.
I mean, I know that one of the bigger, sous vide circulators, Anova, the guy who runs their social media stuff. I mean, it's always constant, trying to send people to the proper channels for customer service if they have an issue. And, people go on the groups and think that, like this is not what it's for.
Yeah,
It's for sharing recipes, for, things, how to use it in different ways. Like you said, instead of, hey, it's not doing what it needs to do. Can I
yeah,
get a warranty? And it's like, go through the regular customer
yeah.
service stuff.
And I'll
And that's kind of what I try to do as well. And anything that I represent or like, people ask me, I said, hey, things break, things have issues, contact the company, so.
it's great too. We've got a really good customer service team here, and it's fun being on the back end of this because I get to see things a little differently. I mean, they're upstairs here at the office, and just their office directly below them is our engineers. And it doesn't happen often, but if when it happens when they need to, we'll see some of the engineers, they walk down there, hey, a person's asking about this, we've never seen this before, blah blah blah, or something, and they get the engineer's perspective on it. And it's great to see everything's under one roof, and so all the resources are here, and so they can pick up the phone, they can walk to the office next door, and they can get all the answers they need. And we've got a great customer service team too. They really they we do our best to take care of our customers, and you know they're willing to go out and support Camp Chef. We want to definitely support our customers too.
So let's talk about that. Let's get into the history and the evolution of Camp Chef a little bit. How did they start? Are they going? What is their what got them into some of the things that they're in? So let's give me a brief history of from the marketing perspective of where Camp Chef came from, where it's going.
It's a great company, I'll tell you. So Camp Chef started in 1990, so we'll be celebrating our 30th year next year. And Camp Chef started here in northern Utah. And these guys, they worked at a machine or a metal fabrication company. Anyways, and avid outdoorsmen, they love the outdoors. They were always cooking for scout groups and church groups and whatnot. Anyway, at the time, he knew there needed to be a better way to cook. I mean, Camp Chef started in the campsite, so if you keep that in mind, there had to be a better way to cook in camp. You're cooking for a group of 10, 15, 20, 30 people. At the time, there was only the little tiny green stoves, the kind.
Right.
And it was,
Either that or you had to use the little charcoal grill hibachi type thing that was at the campsite. Yeah.
yeah, and it just is not. It's not easy when you're cooking for a crowd, and let alone you want to cook good food. So anyway, they were there and they kind of built up and designed this 2-burner stove. And funny, it's almost not identical, but it's very similar to the same stove that we have today. If you look up like our Explore stove or our Pro 60 stove, it's a 2-burner, has 30,000 BTUs per burner. So very powerful, but you can adjust it. If you want to do something very delicate, you can turn it down low. If you want to crank it up to boil a big pot of corn, you can do that. The legs fold up. Some models have folding side shells, whatever. Anyways, this great stove, and it's so good for like tailgating and in camp. If you're going to the park for a big cookout or whatever, you can grab that. Anyway, so they started making those in the early 90s, and they were really popular. They started selling a lot out here in the Intermountain West. So then he's like, you know what, we've got to cook more. We've got to be able to do more on this stove. And so they built these accessories to go on there, and one was a grill. So it's we call it a grill box, and it's a grill that sits on top of your stove, and they got cast iron grates and a lid and everything, and it cooks really good. It cooks great. Anyway, so now you just turned your stove into like a barbecue grill, and then you can pull that off, and you can do a griddle. So you have, a big steel griddle. You can set that right on top of your stove, and now you're cooking bacon and eggs or whatever. And so now you have this one cooking piece that can do all these. You can boil, you can throw a cast iron skillet on there, a big griddle, a grill. You can put a Dutch oven and do Dutch oven cooking on there. Anyway, so with these accessories, these stoves, you can really do anything that you want. And more recently, in the past few years since I've been here, we designed an artisan oven, so very similar to like a wood-fired brick oven type thing. And you can crank out awesome artisan pizzas on there. More than just a pizza oven too, you can do all sorts of stuff. But this whole stove thing is, now we have got 2-burner stoves, 3-burner stoves, single burner stoves, and they're portable. They break down, take them wherever you want. And that's kind of where the products that Camp Chef was based off of in the early 90s. And then in the 2000s, they started doing more cast iron products like Dutch ovens and cast iron skillets. And we've got a great line of cast iron, and we're continuing to do more there. And then probably around 2000, let's see, six, we started doing smokers. And a lot of this comes from our customer base. We're seeing that our customers, they really like to cook. Well, and I say our customers, but also us too. These guys here at Camp Chef, I mean, come to Camp Chef and you've got a great background of outdoorsmen and cooks and chefs and all different people. But anyway, so in 2006, they started looking at, hey, a lot of their customers, they really like food and they want to eat good food in camp, and that's what we're giving them is the ability to cook good food at the tailgate or in camp or wherever, and the ability to do that.
Well, let me ask you a quick question,
Yeah.
insert here. What made them start with a gas powered stove instead of, they don't have any kind of charcoal or wood or anything like that. Everything is kind of gas powered. So personally, me, if I was looking to do camp stuff, I would have probably had thrown some kind of charcoal cooking stuff. Because yeah, I myself did a lot of the scout leader cookouts, and I did most of the cooking because I've just always cooked. So it was always a challenge to bring stuff out to the campsite. But I would bring my portable, smoker, wood fired smoker, and do stuff like that. So was there any that of any kind of reason that they just chose like the gas and the pellet fired stuff?
Yeah. So early on, it was just gas grilling or gas cooking, and it was for stove, 2 3 burner stoves that we were making. And there's a couple reasons that I wasn't there at the time, that they did gas. Um, Number one, I think, is convenience. When you're in camp, there's just a lot of stuff. If you're camping, you have all your sleeping, your living things, and then all your food, and then not to mention food, but your cooking equipment. Um, there's just a lot of stuff, and so gas it's readily available. It's simple. Anyway, so there's definitely the convenience factor. You turn it on, you have heat, and then also very controllable. If you work or talk with a chef, go in their kitchen, they're going to have a big stove range and they need heat. Sometimes they'll need a lot of heat, but it needs to be adjustable too because you need to cook on the high end and on the low end. So that's where they design these 30,000 BTU burners that you can crank it up. I mean, 30,000 BTUs, just a little perspective there. If you have a gas range at home, your big burner, your high output burner at home is probably between 12 to 15,000 BTUs on average. So it's about double that output. So there's a lot of heat there. And what you might ask, why so much power? Um, when you're cooking out in the elements or whatever, it's just good to have that extra power when you need it. I rarely use it, but there is occasion if I'm boiling something big or if it's really windy or whatever, then I have the ability to do that.
Yeah, you got to have to compensate for wind and stuff. It's
Uh-huh.
you're not in a controlled environment and like in your house, so you got to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And I can see why what you're saying, that the gas is a lot more convenient and
Yeah.
easy to bring into a camp area, but also it's good for catering and stuff. I know that Guy Freddy's kind of your sponsor right now, and he in some of his videos he kind of says how when he was first starting to get into catering they use these a lot, and I
Yeah.
can see that where these type of outdoor stoves are, like you said, you can control them a lot better, and if you're doing any kind of outdoor cooking or catering, where you're not just cooking barbecue or burgers, you need that. So,
Yeah.
but
And
I
it
can
can
see
be
that.
it can be very versatile too. I kind of talked about the accessories that you put on there. It can be really versatile. It allows us to be extremely versatile. So we can put our artisan oven on there, a grill, a griddle, whatever, and still have the precise control that we need.
So then they started expanding into like the cast iron stuff, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah. So about in the early 2000s, we started doing cast iron, and then around 2005, 2006, we started doing some vertical smokers. Again, still gas is a gas powered smoker or smoke vault. Um, in fact, they're actually a really great product. If you want to start getting into that at a low price point, you can check those out. And then probably around 2000, let's see, when I started here, 2012, 14, we started again just seeing who our customers were. They really like to cook in camp, and these guys are the guys at home cooking a lot at home. So we were, trying to cater to their needs, and that's where we started making pellet grills too. And now we have a whole line of wood-fired pellet grills. And more recently, what we've done is we have combined the two products, and so now you have your pellet grill, and we have a product called the Sidekick, which is very similar to our stoves that I talked about, the modular system that you can with these 30,000 BTU burners. Um, so now you have that included with your pellet grill, and so you have this, you know, a pellet grill that can do your low and slow, cook up to 500 degrees. You're burning wood, you're getting that flavor, and it's automatically controlled. A great thing to have on your back patio for cooking, barbecue, whatever. And then you have the Sidekick there that just gives you more and more opportunity to cook. I mentioned we were doing videos last week on reverse searing. We use the Sidekick to do that sear, the high heat sear. You can do that on the griddle. You can get a grill box attachment, artisan pizza attachment, and there really is not much you can't get. I mean, besides sous vide, if it's not sous vide, you can really almost cook it on this a pellet
Yeah.
grill, Camp Chef grill
We'll,
Sidekick.
we'll get more into some of the details in some of these products too down the road. I just wanted to kind of do it overall.
Yeah.
It just, when you look at where they started and where they are now and where they're going, one of the things that really impresses me with Camp Chef is they do like to innovate. They don't keep the products the same. They try to make things where, like you said, they are multiple purpose. They're not just one thing. They can do multiple things, and the portability of them and the usability, and that's one of the things I do. Like I said, I like is that it's not just, and it's well thought out. It's not just something that's just thrown out there because of somebody said, "Hey, why don't you guys, do a pellet grill?" Okay, we'll just throw some cheap Chinese parts together and throw one out there and stick our name on it and see what happens. Which that's what happens with a lot of products these days, and you can
Hmm.
see that
Yeah.
when you go on Amazon, even in the sous vide market. There's so many sous vide products on Amazon right now. About 85% of them are cheap garbage
Yeah.
that aren't going to last very long. That you don't know who the manufacturer is because they've got the same name on like the same model for 8 different companies. So and it's not like that with Camp Chef. You can actually look at a Camp Chef and it's totally different than another pellet grill that's sitting next to it.
Well, we
So
wanted, and that's what we wanted to do before Camp Chef started doing pellet grills, is make sure that we've got something different. How can we, that we saw a few areas that we could improve on, that we could make better for the customers, and then, we did see that, hey, a lot of people buying these pellet grills. What happens is it comes time for them to buy a new grill, and they want to get rid of their gas grill or whatever, and so they're like, oh, I want to get a pellet grill, so they do, and then they end up keeping their gas grill, and so now they've got two grills on their patio. Maybe unlike you or me, have more than one, but most people just have one or want to have one. Anyways, well, we thought, well, you know what, we can really, by bringing what we've done with our stoves, and we combine those two together, it's the perfect match, and it works out well.
that's one thing that does surprise me though, is that they never came out with just a regular gas grill. They didn't, they had the stove and they got the grill box, but they didn't come out with, let's just say, a 2 burner gas grill. Um, but I guess it's because everybody and their brother has one of those out there.
Well,
So
yeah, they're out
they,
there, and I think with what we've got, you can accomplish everything. Your gas grill, you're grilling, and
right.
that's what it is. So
Gotcha. So let's go into what you do as you have to market all these different various products to on your social media platforms, and you're part of the whole marketing department. So I'm sure they've got different channels that they have to look at for the different products as well, because they are diverse. I mean, your barbecue guy may not be the same guy that is looking at the camp stove and all that, and you got your cast iron stuff is still more towards the guy who's the outdoorsy person. But and you got some other products out there, I'm sure, that have different different clientele. So what's it like trying to market all these different things to different people?
Well, two words come to mind when you ask that question. It's tough. It's not easy, but it's fun. I've always said if I'm not having fun doing my job, then I'm doing something wrong. Um, and I say it's tough. We've got a very diverse market. Um, we're dealing with guys who, I mean, some of our products have been at up on Mount Everest at the base camp, and they've been used there. And so you're dealing with people who are doing those types of extreme activities, whether it's river rafting or mountain climbing or going back on big hunts on horses or whatever. But then we're also dealing with people who cook and barbecue now on the competition side. I work with a few competition teams, and they're out on the competition circuit using our pellet grills. And so we have a very diverse marketplace with totally different ends of the spectrum, depending on what products they're using, which makes it challenging at times, but also it's fun and a great opportunity for us too, because we've got such a diverse crowd, and it's great because it's so fun to watch too, because they all love food, and food is what brings them in and what brings them together, and there's this common tie there that revolves around food and cooking.
Since you've been there, how have you seen the Camp Chef brand uh, grow? I mean, the brand name itself, because everybody knows that having a good brand name that people can associate with. How has that grown? Because starting out, any company starting out, you're unknown. When I first started out, Fire and Water, who's that? But now I've been doing it for a year, so now I've got people who know who I am and what I do. So the Camp Chef brand, when I hear about it, I think of quality and like I said before, innovation, and always changing and making things that make sense. So how do you see that
Yeah.
in the 8 years
um,
you've been there?
that's a great question. Me thinking back on it, being on the inside too, it's like, wow, I think back and I'm like, holy cow, our brand really has grown a ton. Um, and for various reasons, there's a lot of various things to do that. But I think one of the great things that has helped us grow is just through social media, and which also word of mouth on social media. Um, and that's grown the Camp Chef brand so much over the years, and just tremendous growth. It's been so fun to see. When I started here, social media was there, but it just wasn't being utilized, not only by us, but most brands, especially within this industry, just weren't utilizing social media the way that they should. Um, and those kinds of things, just help gotten the word out there. And then as the other great thing too is word of mouth. Someone gets a Camp Chef product and they have a barbecue and invite their neighbors over. Um, and they're like, wow, this food's great. How did you cook this? And, oh, well, come here, I'll show you. And they show them the product, and this is my pellet grill, and this is how it works, and this is where that flavor's coming from. And then they go out and buy one, and they do the same thing. And then, and it just it just, word of mouth is huge. And then they're sharing all that on social media. I mean, every time you cook cook good food, you take a picture of it and share it. Just hop on that Camp Chef Smokers or any group on Facebook, any food group on Facebook, and you get a ton of that.
What about the grill god? How much did he increase the
Oh
sales of the
yeah,
pellet grills?
yeah. So in 2000, what was that? 2017, we worked with a marketing agency here in Utah, and we did a digital marketing campaign with our woodwind grill. Actually, is the grill that we selected for that, and we launched the woodwind grill through this campaign. And we kind of had this funny video with this guy who's a grill god, and he came and showed the character, how to cook, um, how to actually cook good food, and threw his old grill away and gets him this pellet grill. And anyway, that was a great campaign. I think the views were phenomenal. I want to say it's probably north of 30 million views on those videos now. Anyway, but that really helped get the word out for the Camp Chef brand. And there were some, definitely some challenges. And looking back, there's some things that I would have done differently there for sure. But it really introduced the Camp Chef brand more into this pellet grill market. Hey, we've got a great product here. We're a key player in this world, and the fans agree, and they agreed with their wallets, and they came and said, "Hey, this is the product I want to buy. I've seen it before. My neighbors had it. My friends had it. Whatever. I'm ready to buy it." And so they do, and then they share it with the world too.
I could see it was probably a big, a big jump in sales from that, because it was a good campaign. It was a good laid out commercial.
Yeah,
It really sold the convenience of the product compared to, a gas grill. And it's the convenience of a gas grill compared to having it in a smoker.
yeah.
Whereas most people think of a smoker, it's, oh, I got to get the wood, the charcoal, and then all this stuff. It takes forever to get it going, and you got to keep it going. So it really was a great campaign. So speaking of great campaigns, we're going to take a little bit of break, and I'm going to have a little commercial here with Inkbird, who is the sponsor of the podcast. And we will be right back with Ryan Neely from Camp Chef. Hey all, it's Darren. I want to welcome a new sponsor to the podcast, Inkbird Products. Inkbird's been around since 2010. They make some good humidity controllers, temp controllers, thermometers. They just released a new line of barbecue thermometers. I actually have the IBT 4XS model, which is a Bluetooth 4-probe barbecue thermometer. It has up to 150 foot range on the Bluetooth. Has built-in times and temps for different meats. Works really great. Check them out, Inkbird Products. You can find them on my Amazon store on the link on my website. Also, you can check them out on Facebook, Inkbird Barbecue. You can join their group. They have discount codes, giveaways all the time. But welcome Inkbird Barbecue Products to the Fire and Water Podcast. Check them out, guys. Thanks. All right, Ryan, we're back. We were just talking about the grill god. We were getting into, the marketing of especially the pellet grill, the Woodwind, which I'm a big fan of. Actually, I had my brother buy one with the Sidekick actually earlier this year. He was replacing his gas grill and asked my opinion. And I said, well, if you want something that can do everything, and that can be a smoker and a grill and sear and all that, you need to get the Woodwind. So he ended up getting the Woodwind with the Sidekick. And like I said before, I think that one of the biggest things that I love about Camp Chef, and one of the things that attracted me so much, is the innovation in the pellet grills and the other products that they offer. Like you said, with the stoves that have the different attachments to them, the flat top griddles where you can take the griddle off, and it's also a gas grill if you want it to be, and then the quality that's put into everything as well. So
You know,
let's talk a little bit more about that stuff, the innovation that comes with what you guys offer that some of the others don't.
yeah, especially on the pellet grill side, I think there's so much that you can do first of all, a pellet grill is great because it's so versatile, and there's a lot that you can do there. Now, don't get me wrong. I think a lot, if you've got a smoker like a stick burner or something, I love that stuff. That is the best. And you know, you can get online, you can read some of these forums or whatever. A lot of people are back and forth on pellet grills and whatnot. But you know, I've really become a believer in pellet grills and what they can do, and they really are introducing a lot of people into barbecue. If it's not just the low and slow, I mean, you can crank it up to 500 degrees. I love doing veggies on there, potatoes, those kinds of things. One of the great innovations that Camp Chef has done with our pellet grill is we have a feature on some of them. I think you have this one on your grill too. Is a slide and grill feature. So it's kind of hard to describe without showing you, but when you have a pellet grill, there's a burn pot that burns pellets, which creates the heat. And there's usually a diffuser plate over that to help create so you have very even heat and even cooking within your cooking chamber. And that's what you want when you're doing ribs or a brisket or something. Um, but when you want to get a really high heat, what you can do is you can slide. There's a knob and a little lever there that you can pull, and that slides the heat diffuser out of the way, which allows you to have more of an indirect cook. And this is a great feature when doing, like, if I'm doing chicken thighs or something, I'm definitely doing it with the slide and grill method. I'm going to crank it up. Maybe I'll do it low and slow at first to get a little smoke on there, and then I'll crank it up, crisp that skin. I'll do the slide and grill. I'll open that up to get that indirect, that higher heat, and it's awesome. It's really good.
Yeah, I have the slide and grill, and it is good for things like that where you want to get a little bit of a char.
Yeah,
It is a little bit limiting because you're just limited to the area of the burn pot if you
correct.
want that. But you, like you said, if you're just doing like a pieces of chicken or something, you know, it's really easy to slide that thing back and do it. It's not something that's going to replace the sear box when you want that great sear on a reverse seared steak. I think some of the innovations, like, you know, the sear box and just the ash removal, function of the the Camp Chef pellet grills, to me was like one of the big things, just because everyone, that's something that you guys patented that nobody else can actually do till the patent expires. But everybody else, you got to take your vacuum cleaner and vacuum it out,
Yeah,
instead of dumping the ash with the pulling a handle, which to me, it may sound like a little thing, but that's one of the things I didn't want to have to do is suck it out, with a vacuum cleaner every time I wanted to get, because the burn pot, get filled pretty quick.
yeah,
So
yeah. And that's a thing that, again, we looked at pellet grills and we thought, okay, they're lacking really high heat and the ability to sear. Any pellet grill, I mean, your highest heat is about 500 degrees, and so it's very hard to get that higher heat. And yeah, you can bring in a cast iron pan. There's some little things that you can do, So we added the slide and grill method, which helped. And it is a great way to cook. But like you said, there's definitely a learning curve there, and there's some different things. But if you have it, you have the ability to use it. The other thing that we've added is the ash clean out. We looked at pellet grills and we said, you know what? These things, they burn ash, and they require you to pull out the insides and vacuum them out. Well, let's find a way to fix that. And so, we have this patented ash clean out system that you just pull a lever, your ash drops out, and you're good to go. I'd still recommend cleaning your grill at least once a year, or more.
yeah, I mean, I do it like every six, maybe
Yeah,
3 to 6 months.
depending on how much
But
you use.
I don't have to do it after every cook. That's the thing,
Yeah,
I don't have to do it every time to empty out my the burn pot, which you do on the other ones. Even if some of the more expensive models, like the Yoders and stuff, they're $1,500 and plus, and you still gotta vacuum them out
yeah,
after
yeah,
every time. And also, I like the fact that of the you can change the pellets out too, because I might not always want to cook with pecan or hickory, or might want to try the cherry pellets. So being able to empty out the pellets and swap them out for different kinds,
yeah.
is always important too. So that it's the little things like that. The attention to those little details is what I like about what Cam Chef
Well,
offers. So
and that's where we really wanted to add the sidekick and the sear box. We first came out with the sear box to give people the ability to get a high heat sear. Not only that, but sometimes it's like, you know what, I just want to throw a burger on, and I don't want to get into this big thing. I've only got 30 minutes to cook and eat. And so it gives you the ability to do something really quick too. But also an excellent sear, great crust on the steak or meat or whatever you plan to do. And then the Sidekick, man, that's such a great product that you can cook whatever you want. You're really not limited by your equipment, and that's what we wanted. That's what Camp Chef wanted to offer and wanted to serve to our customers, is the ability to let them explore and cook whatever they want, however they would like, without having 10 different grills on your patio. This one does this one does this. But the other thing to know is, just because it's versatile, it's not lacking in quality. If you get the Sidekick and you want to cook on that griddle and you want to do a nice Philly cheesesteak sandwich, man, that griddle's awesome. It's a really good quality, seasoned steel. It's big, thick, seasoned steel griddle, as good as you're going to get on any other big griddle that you buy. Similar to our flat top grills, that's the same. It's actually the same griddle that we use on the Sidekick. Anyways, so it's awesome. And your ability to do multiple things at once, like reverse sear steak, or when I do wings, I usually like to smoke my wings first, and then I'll have a fry pot on there with some oil. And so I'll smoke them and then I'll finish them in the fryer. So that way you're getting the best of both, crispy skin, a fried wing, but then it's also got that nice, good wood-fired flavor that I was looking for. So I'll usually, combo them up and get creative with it. And there's so much that you can do.
Yeah, especially if somebody, a retired couple or just has limited outdoor space to have a grill. I mean, the Woodwind with the Sidekick, and then buy the barbecue box if you want to have that as well, for the searing option. But just to have that, or like you said, you got your burner for a pot if you want to do a big thing of chili or what have you.
Even a pan, like this
Yeah.
is I know you have the sear box here, but this is my opinion. I love a pan sear. I mean, you just all the contact on the surface there. If I have got a big ribeye, that's the way I'm gonna. And you can do that, very easily on the Sidekick. Just put a big cast iron pan on there, smoke that, your steak. Bring it over and give it a nice crust, sear it off. I love it.
And then you can make a nice pan sauce in the cast iron.
Exactly. Pan. Yeah. So you can use it for that too.
But yeah, the flat top, I recently got the FTG 600, and I've looked at these over a year and a half ago and compared them with the Blackstones, and I've watched plenty of videos, but it's the overall quality of the product itself.
Yeah.
The griddle coming pre-seasoned is very important. The ability of the side shelves to fold down really easy. The overall design of the product is a lot more functional. And that's what I like, with Camp Chef, all their products are like that. Everything is well thought out and well designed and well engineered. It's just not thrown together.
Yeah.
Which a lot of these other products that, will go nameless because people will yell at me about it, but they're not as well thought out. So
yeah. Well, and that's I've always said that you've with marketing it, you've got to start out with a good product. No, I mean, that's the bottom line. If you don't have a good quality product from there, all your marketing is just smoke and mirrors from there. And believe me, we've got room to improve on our marketing. But we've started with a great product, and I think that's the most important thing that we've got going for us. And now it's important for us to get the word out there and educate these people on our product so that they can understand how much they can really do with it and what they can do with it. I was going to change gears and talk about flat top grills for a second. You mentioned the flat top grills. Those are awesome. If you don't have a flat top grill, or if you have a Camp Chef grill and you get a Sidekick or a flat top grill, anyway, cooking on a griddle is it's great. There's so many great things you can do there. I've recently discovered how wonderful smash burgers are. I've always just grilled burgers, but I don't know, for whatever reason, maybe they just skipped my radar, or I never gave them the credit they deserved. But a smash burger on a griddle, no question, the best burger you're going to have. And there's so much that you can do on a flat top grill. They're easy to use. They're easy to clean. I love them, man.
Yeah, they're very versatile. I used to work in the restaurant business, so anybody
Yeah,
that's ever worked in a
yeah,
restaurant knows how most of your cooking, especially if you're working in a place that does lunch and breakfast, most of the stuff you're cooking is on a flat top.
yeah.
It's hardly ever hardly in an oven or on a grill. It's on a griddle, it's on a flat
I don't
top,
know
but
how
there's so
many
much you can
I
do.
don't know how many guys like you have said they say I love this flat top grill. It reminds me when I was 16 and I worked at the golf course. I was cooking, or like I love this flat top. When I was going to school, I was working at the local diner when I was in college, and this is what we cooked on. You know. Anyway, it's funny how that brings back those.
Oh, it does. I mean, and it's just shows you how versatile, and to have that on your back, your back porch where you can go out there and make, anything you can imagine. It's so hard to do on your stove in just a little pan. So, and it's very versatile, and I can understand how people love them, whether it's what brand it is. But to me, the brand is important because of just the whole design of the griddle itself is really important to me. So, but yeah, I love it, and I cook on it all the time. But yeah, I make smash burgers at least once a week. My family loves them.
They're the
So
best.
if I stopped making them, I probably would get in trouble. But
Keep making them. I'll come. I'll be coming down.
so what's coming up in the future with Camp Chef that you can tell us about? Any of the new changes or designs, anything that they're going to be adding, taking away?
We've talked a lot about innovation. I'll just say this, just keep an eye out, watch, follow Camp Chef, sign up for our email list. And you will be some of the first to know about some of Camp Chef's new upcoming products. We've got stuff coming out this fall, and then later this fall, we have new products coming out. I'm not going to share details with you, but I will say if you found this podcast and you're listening to this podcast, you're going to want to see the new products that we have coming to the market. Camp Chef's always pushing innovation, and that's what we're doing again here.
Well, let's talk about one of the things that I don't have, but I thought was one of the more impressive things that I thought was that the new Pursuit, the portable pellet
Uh-huh.
grill, because your normal woodwind or the Smoke Pro, it's not something you're really going to drag out to a tailgate or camp or anything like that. But the Pursuit is something you can.
Yeah. It's funny when we were making that, the the founder of Camp Chef actually came in and he's like, we gotta, they're a lot of our customers are taking their big grills out. We need to get something for the guy going out to the racetrack in his RV or whatever. Just how can we bring this into a compact size? He said, but I don't want to. I saw this other one. It was like a little Barbie grill. I don't want this little Barbie grill, you know. Um, and and believe me, good. There's a lot of good grills out there, good pellet grills or whatever. But this one in particular, he'd referred to as the little Barbie grill. And so I just remember that, and as we were building this product, and it's a really good grill. It's great quality. It's heavy, it's sturdy, and it's not small. You're still gonna I can still fit 4 racks of ribs or a full brisket. You got 2 shelves in there, but yeah, the folding leg design is a little bit more compact in the cooking chamber. You can throw it in your truck bed and take it to camp or take it to the racetrack or the football game or whatever. And it has the cool thing about that Pursuit is it has all the features that are big, inline grills have. It has the slide grill option. It has all your digital high smoke, low smoke, goes up to 500 degrees, all that kind of stuff. Um, has all those cool
The ash clean out and
app
everything.
clean
Yeah,
out.
and like you said, the way and they do this in all the grills now is the way they develop the cooking chamber. Having the flat back is really because most of the other ones you see out there, the Traegers or what have you, they're all round
Yeah,
like a barrel, and that's not the most optimal way to design a cooking
no,
chamber. because you're losing all that room that you get by making that back flat.
Yeah.
And that pursuit, I can tell in the wood in the Smoke Pro that I have compared to some of the other ones out there, but you can really tell in that pursuit. It gives you so much more room for a compact, portable,
Yeah.
smoker that, I mean, it's like you said, it's like some of the other, standard model, pellet grills. It has more room than they do,
Yeah. It's got
so
some good square inches on it, and not only that, but we also talk, and this is kind of more important maybe on the bigger grills, not the Pursuit. That's the more portable one, but is cubic inches, and how important that is, because when you're doing Thanksgiving's coming up, you're going to be cooking a turkey or two. And can you fit that in your grill? And that's where cubic inches and the volume of your grill really comes into play, because your square inches, a turkey doesn't take up a ton of room. I mean, it does, but not a lot. Most grills could fit the square inches of a turkey quite easily, like a 20-pound, 25-pound bird. But it's that vertical space that you really need. And then when there's the barrel shaped design, that we see a lot in traditional smoking or barbecue or whatever, you cut out a lot of that space that you could use there in regards to just a vertical space. So we've actually, some of our newer grills have a taller cooking chamber. We've added more vertical space up front and in back, so you have a little more volume or cubic inches within the cooking chamber, and dual shelves that are removable or whatever, and that's great when cooking bigger items like chickens or turkeys or whatever.
it looks like they came back out with the XXL vertical pellet smoker this year. They had gotten rid of that product for a while, hadn't they? And they decided
Yeah,
to re-engineer it.
yeah. So when we first, great product actually, and if you want to do a lot of low and slow and hold a lot of capacity, that's a great item. Um, so we originally launched it, and there was a few things that we wanted to change kind of right off the bat. We realized, what, we've really got to change these things. And then it took us, so we stopped production on it. We changed a few things, and then we brought it back. And that's been in the line for a little while now. And it's a great item. Your your temperature range on that is like 160 to about 300, maybe 350. And then from there, which makes it a great item for all your low and slow. And you can also hang sausages and all that kind of stuff. So
I can see it being good for the comp barbecue guys, especially loading it up with their ribs and pork butts and brisket and all that. But I like more versatile things, so that the Smoke Pro or the Woodwind are more for me. I like to be able to do more than one thing with the grills that I have on my patio. So
okay,
all right, what else do you want to talk about? Let's start to wrap this thing up.
yeah.
But we've talked a lot about Camp Chef and the products, and like I said, kind of pointed out a lot of the things that I like about the company and the products and the innovation. So
We've always got to be pushing the envelope and seeing what else we can do to make it better, easier, more versatile, stronger, last longer, something on the products we make. So, and Camp Chef's always trying to do that. And I think one of the things that Camp Chef always tries to keep in mind when they're our design team's building and designing these products is the customer. Like, you're the end guy, and everybody's got different tastes, everybody's got different styles of doing things, everybody's got their own way to do stuff. And Camp Chef really wants to embrace that and make products so that you can do things your way, however that is, however you want to do that. There's no best way to cook a burger or best way to cook a steak. I've got my opinions, and I've got found what I really like, but sometimes my neighbor next door doesn't. He might not like it that way, but he can still have the same grill and cook it his own way.
well, and I'm a big proponent of that as well. I like cooking different things different ways. So I mean, and that's kind of what you guys are offering with your products. You got different cooking methods, different cooking styles, different cooking utensils. So make sure you guys check out Camp Chef's website as well. They have a big website full of all their products. They've got a blog, they've got videos, all kinds of recipes and stuff like that on there. Make sure you follow them on their Facebook page, Camp Chef's Facebook page, because like Ryan said, they'll do live demos as well. I know I've seen a bunch of them where you guys are cooking your lunch and stuff, and you have your chef. What's the chef's name
Jack.
that you guys have on staff?
His name is
Yeah,
Jack.
Chef Jack.
Good guy. Yeah.
So I've seen him on there as well. But make sure you check out Camp Chef. Check out their products. I know they sell them at Dick's or on Amazon as well. But I'll link in the description below their website and the Facebook page and all that as well. So thanks again, Ryan, for being on. Is there anything else you wanted to say?
Just if everybody's out there listening, let's just get cooking. Just cook some good food and encourage other people to cook good food. That's all that's what it really boils down to. And we just hope that everybody really, who's listening to this, hopefully they enjoy that and they share that with other people.
Yeah, it's the passion of cooking, and not just cooking for yourself, but cooking for other people, that I think inspires people to to learn more and check out a lot of the new products too, and always change. So that's me. I like cooking. I like cooking for other people. I like making people happy, and I don't like to do the same thing over and over again. Yeah. So and I think with the products like the Camp Chef stuff, where they're always innovating, it lets you do that as well. But thanks for joining me, Ryan. And I'm sure we'll have you on again sometime down the road when you're announcing some new products. But thanks for joining me.
Thanks, Darren. It's been a pleasure to be here on your show, and we'll talk soon.
All right. Thanks again. And see you guys on the next Fire and Water Cooking Podcast. Thanks again for following us on the Fire and Water Cooking Podcast today. I want to thank our guest, Ryan Neely from Camp Chef, for joining us. Make sure you check out the links below for Camp Chef's website and products. Make sure you check out Inkbird in the links below as well. Make sure you check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. We're doing a giveaway on Facebook right now. Make sure you follow us. Over $500 in merchandise. So check us out, and check us out on the next Fire and Water Cooking Podcast.